So, on that note, I'm going to hand over to my lovely colleague, Amanda Took, and are you coming up, Sandy? Or are you sitting?
I'm sitting.
All right, okay. To Amanda, who's going to introduce Sandy and Sandy's story. Okay.
First of all, I want to thank you, Sandy, for giving me the privilege to tell your story and introduce it for you. Sandy was born in Aberdeen in 1963 and was involved in a road traffic accident at a young age. Sandy spent some time recovering from the accident and returned home to stay with his family. Unfortunately, his mum found it difficult to look after Sandy, as his dad was a trawlerman and spent long periods of time at sea. Sandy's mum was advised that he would be better going into hospital, where he could be better supported around his behavioural challenges. Sandy settled into institutional setting up in Ladysbridge in Banff and stayed there for most of his adult life. He moved from Ladysbridge when it closed to Elmwood in Aberdeen, another hospital in Aberdeen. Sandy describes life in hospital like being in a prison, but what he experienced during the 37 years in hospital has made him stronger. In 2009, Sandy moved from hospital to support accommodation in Aberdeen. He found this move a bit of a challenge as he felt over-supported and somewhat frustrated by the lack of focus in moving his life forward. In 2013, Sea Change was asked to work for Sandy and support him to identify outcomes to enable him to achieve a good life. Sandy took a while to trust Sea Change, as he was afraid there was going to be lots of broken promises. He really just wanted the simple things from life, such as going on holiday, getting a pet, and living independently. Sea Change supported Sandy to look at how to achieve these by spending time, listening to him and making plans to help him with his life. What I hope we hear from Sandy's story today is that even though his basic human rights of dignity, the right to private and family life, the right to liberty and security are often ignored, he bore the most admirable resilience to achieve an ordinary life. He does not dwell on the past, as in Sandy's words, this is just wasting time. Here's Sandy's story, and what we've done is we've added some subtitles because we've acknowledged that us Aberdonians are very broad and you might need a bit of a hand. Thank you. Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Being as a Sea Change is a grown man's cup of tea. Been there for 8 years old until you're 19, there to Carstairs, and then when I was 28 back to Ladysbridge, and I was there until I was about 37, and then I moved to Elmwood, and I was there until I was 45, then I moved out of there to Woodside. Yeah, I never spoke with my life being in the hospital, because we're never allowed to talk about our life. But, yeah, we didn't have our boys, the staff were our boys. Even in meetings and things, we didn't, that's what we're saying, at least we didn't have our voice. So we didn't have a voice at least, but they did our talking for us. Being in care, yeah, you've got no trust in anybody being cared, not trust at all. No, you got some people grass, Raitlands and Centre, and then you get picked on Ladysbridge. No, but you couldn't trust nobody in Ladysbridge. Only one friend I had I could trust was my pal George Willis, this passed away recently. That was the only friend I had there, my only pal I had. I could talk to there, he could talk to me there. I thought I died in Ladysbridge because all the allegations there they made weren't even true. A lot of things it's written there about me isn't even true. They rather did just to keep me there. I'll never go to it. My family even said the same. You'll never go to that, you're dying there. You weren't allowed to hug, kiss, or anything, even when you got a girlfriend. No, we were never together. It wasn't like a relationship. It was just like somebody to talk to around the grounds. No, but not a relationship. At least best you couldn't put your arms around her. There were so many rules there. We are dancing. You have to be a wee bit of space away from them. You couldn't hug them and things, and that's the difference. You couldn't kiss them. You have to have a space. This is back in the 70s. Castor is exactly the same. You dance, you got a disco unit or a band playing. The staff are always watching. You can't hug them, you can't kiss them. A label is, well, being, if you're in prison forever, you're not given a name, you're given a number. But in Lisbridge, we do have a number, we're given a different name. We weren't allowed to call ourselves my first name, it was always my last name. The staff are the same, they weren't allowed to say the first name. On the white coats, it was always the last name. We asked the staff, what's your first name? And they used to say, don't even speak about my first name. This is my name, it's on my white coats. We don't have a first name. And you don't have a first name. You just have a last name. So we wouldn't allow to say, Alec McGregor, you name it. We had a last name. But you took the staff about, what's your first name? They weren't allowed to tell your first name. A low grade is a very bad word for people who is deformed or got disability. It's a very bad word. Now, if I talk to my father about that names, my father used to crap yes. Because when I was with my dad in the tune, and I saw a pastor wheelchair, I used to say, but look at that spastic wheelchair. My father said, where did this go on? The spastic wheelchair. He used to crack up with me. That's a human being in that chair. Please don't say that. But we just got used to saying all these, but we just got used to all the words, you name it. I like everybody in the world be treated the same, not high grade, low grade. In this world, if you're born in this world, you're here for a purpose. And I said my flat was, I was moving to a new house, but I don't got a house, they always tell me to say it's a house, but it's not a house, it's a unit. So I didn't feel like it was a house to me because people there is being in care and you name it. So to me it's a unit. But a little Rosie, that's my house. That's what I come home to. That's what I love to call my house. I've got a key to the door, you name it. Which side you doing? You've got a buzzer to get out, a buzzer to get in. But you don't have a key, you got a fob, you don't have a key. You get a key to your door, but then you got a master key so you could get on the time they want. I never had a girlfriend, I never had a female friend. You name it in my flat. I could meet them outside, but not in my flat. I was not loving even my family in my flat. They have to be arranged in a coffee shop or somewhere you could eat, you name it. I was not loving nobody in my flat, even visitors. I was the only one that was outside. It was locked in my flat at 10 o'clock. Even my sport finishes at 9:30. I was allowed to go get a garden for a park, you name it. Even at Elwood, my parks were still timed from Elwood to Woodside. And I thought, this is my flat, why am I so timed to have a cigarette? Why can't I have a cigarette anytime I wanted? But that was the rules. I was still on 5 parks a day, even in my own flat. As I said, we have no human rights, but everything happened there. If I walked out my flat at 10 o'clock, the police are called because I walked out my flat at 10 o'clock. So I have no human rights, and I cannot say I'm going to go for a walk with you, staff, you name it. I used to get around because I used to rearrange visitors without a staff knowing in my flat, and I was allowed to have them. But they couldn't do nothing because they turned up. So that was one of the rules I broke. I want pleasure bills to come to my flat, even though they weren't allowed to. They think I can, I think. Well, think again, I can. So different, after being locked up at 10 o'clock, I was allowed to have my own freedom. I could go backward, not 12 o'clock. As long as I phone, I'm coming home after 12, 1 o'clock. As long as I phone, I'm coming home. Even gone to the town with the staff, you name it, it was a life changing for me. That means I could have my own freedom. And then it did change when I had my family Woodside. I was allowed visitors. I didn't have to meet them in a tune, you name it, I could meet them outside. I noticed things were happening. I didn't know it was happening, but a week or whatever, but along the week I thought, things are changing here, you could see a difference. But you couldn't notice a difference a couple of days or 3 days. It had to be a week or something, over a week before you notice a Southern Yankee, there's a difference. If you look at it, if I take a line of people, okay, that's my trust gone. Because I tell them, you to trust me, I mean, I love them to trust me. Yes, I break some rules, but little tiny ones. I don't break massive rules, but little tiny ones. Everybody's got to break a rule in their lifetime, but that's in the massive. I want you to trust me, and I want to trust you. Can help each other. My goals I was looking forward to was have a place on my own. I'll try to get a place on my own with my front door. That was going to happen until I got married with Rosie. The hours I goes out, I was allowed to go in the tune anytime I wanted, but without support. And I used to get support by Sea Change all the time, 5 days a week. But then I now only get support 2 days a week. So that was good because then I got my life kind, going out my own and things like that. Goals wise, yeah, got on hold on my own. That happened with Sea Change. Yeah, the first time I went, I did have a
Centre.
yeah, so it was good. Yeah, business holiday in my head. And then now I could go on holiday with Rosie without any staff being there. That's another goal. It's going to happen. I met Rosie. I was pals with Mark, our son Mark. I was pals with Ham. So I met his mother at a pub, and I did talk to Mark. I was at a table with Rosie. Rosie was quiet, very shy person, but I did all the talking. So as a day after, I asked Mark, "Is your wife, is your mother married?" And she says she's single. Because I told Abba I met a beautiful lassie at a pub, very quiet, very shy. And I thought, I said, Abba, I hope she's single. Yeah, so maybe in a chance. And then I asked Mark, "Is your mother single?" She says yes. Me and Rosie sit us together every time. Mark and Tracy sit back. So we got talking. And at night time, that was my spot. Well, guess what? Rosie's single. I went, yes! Nah. So then after that we got together. Rosie, I knew straight away was the right person. Same personality I've got, same. We do like a lot of things, just like a secret of music I like. But we do like bowling, we like at the cinema. So there's a lot of things we do like, but a relationship is not about everything you like. But Rosie is very down to earth. No argument is, yeah. Rosie, she's never got money ever, she never asked me for anything. Being married took me a lot of money away to pay for the wedding, so I've got to suffer through it, but that's life. Being single all your life, being a boy, till you're a grown man, you get used to their rules, you name it. It's just stuck in your head, okay? You don't know what it's like to live with a partner. If you've been a single person all your life, you're used to their kind of rules. But when Rosie started by 1 day, 2 days, I would love it because she's there and now I've got a partner I could sleep next to, but I'm used to before. Totally different. So yeah, so I love Rosie being there 24/7. But once you got a partner, totally different. You get used to it right away. I thought I never got used to it living with somebody, but then when you find you can and do it, so it's great.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed it and understood most of it. I still struggle a wee bit, don't I, with the accent sometimes, Sandy. You speak very fast. I think we were waiting for the minister. I'm getting shakes of the head. All right, okay, we're going to the panel first and then we're... See, it's just a bit flexible. So would the panel members be willing to come up and take a seat? That's you, Sandy, as well. So I would like like to introduce you to our panel members. Sandy McGregor, who you've just met through his story. Tom Cowan, who is the Director of Operations at Aberdeen City Health and Social Care Partnership. Andrew Strong, sitting next to Tom, who is the Policy and No, he's not. He's the Assistant Director of Policy and Communications at the Health and Social Care Alliance Scotland. You're not in the same order as on my card, you see. So I'm just giving you new jobs. And lastly at the end is Andy Miller, who's the Policy and Implementation Manager at the Scottish Commission for Learning Disability. Okay, so do we have any questions to kick off? Oh, we have a question here.
Hi, my name's Claire. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I would be interested to hear from each one of you what single piece of advice would you give me if I said that I wanted to go and develop an organisation to support adults like Sandy. What single piece of advice or guidance would you give me to do that?
Ooh. Okay, does anyone want to kick off with the answer to that? Tom?
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure if I'm switched on or not,
Yep.
which is something that people have said to me on many occasions. That's a very good question. Thank you for that question. And I guess some of the answers have already been there, in which is that ethos of having enabling choice, control for people, that it's actually their life. And my friend here, Sandy, from Aberdeen, who I don't think we've actually met before, which is one of those interesting situations. Sandy and I are roughly the same age, almost exactly the same age in fact, and my life has been full of choice and control. Lots of choices, lots of control, not always made the right choices, not always felt in control, but broadly speaking, my life has been the kind of life that has been part of my own destiny. Sandy's sounds in complete contrast to mine, very, very different. And yet I find myself in Aberdeen with Sandy in two very distinctly different roles. But what we probably do also share is a reasonable understanding that in order to give people a true life, it has to be their life, not the life that somebody else decides for them. And whether that be as individual practitioners or whether that be organisational heads, we all have to have that ethos, those values, right from the off, and to ensure that it's Sandy's life or other people like Sandy, it's their life. And any organisation you maybe want to start off has to have that at the core of its being. And I'd be happy to say here, it's one of the reasons I chose to come along today, is that this was a liberating experience for me in Aberdeen when we managed to get Sea Change to come along and work with us. Because prior to that, partly through the economics of Aberdeen, and partly also because it's a very difficult place to achieve a footprint in terms of being a provider, we had a fairly staid establishment of organisations working with people with complex needs. But they came, they were very different, and they have been hugely influential. And the difference was quite a simple one. They treated people like human beings, no matter who they were. They listened to them, and they empowered them. So whatever organisation you set off, and best of luck to you, make sure it starts from that place.
That's just something about the organisation. Being in Elwood Hospital, when I was at Leesbridge, all our dignity was to love us. We did have ourselves what we do in the world. We have a lot to love for the world. We go by the rules. When you're a kid, your brain is kid. You're when you're growing up, your brain develops into an adult. So we go with the training of our brain to be in the community, but we team up with us. That's how we have to program our brain to be into the community, because everything's team up here. So we've got to train our brain to be in the community to be like everybody else. But if we don't have that, we are nothing. We are completely out of this world. We don't have anything. Your memory, everything's gone. But as I said, we've got to retrain our memory to be, and it's good hearted. But that's what it is, to take everything up here. Everything you do is to me. You've got to be retrained to be back to this world. It's really hard to take things up here. Like medication, If you done something wrong, they dope you up to the eyeballs. You got to do nothing. You're like a zombie, can. If they want the water quiet, you got to dope up the eyeballs. They got power to do that. We don't. They're doctors, they put a lot of medication. We have a separate medication to get. No, they script everything for you. I was in 12 different kinds of tablets, really powerful ones. Have we got a clue for that's in your system? When the doctor says, Dr. Calder, I stopped my medication. I never got a clue what this was. I stopped it, but he says I need it because of the voices. But in Carstairs, I'm in a locked unit. But since I left Carstairs and been back at Woodside, I hear no voices. But in Carstairs, I went for a lot of work, a big work. The voices stopped for ages, okay? So I don't know if I'm hearing voices, but they say I do, okay? I've had lots of tests, said I'm schizophrenic. But as a kid, I had kind of an illness, yeah? Yeah. Sorry, I need to stop, stop. I'm turning away.
No, we had this, Sandy and I have known each other for quite a while, and Sandy's incredibly passionate, so I'll tell you, the signal was, I would go like this.
Yeah. I didn't realise the signal till I just carry on. Yeah. I don't even feel the tapping.
I've been in Aberdeen long enough to follow every word of
yeah. I don't even hear it because I'm so nervous. I didn't hear the tapping.
I know. I think you raised a really important point there, Sandy. And actually, if you're setting up an organisation, we should not expect people to trust us. You know, if you've been done over by the system, and forgive me, that's I think what it has felt like for some people. If you go into institutional care when you're 8 and you pop out in your late 40s, we should not expect people to trust us and behave. And it took quite a long time of us apologising to Sandy when we got it wrong, for Sandy to go, actually this does feel a little bit different. Actually, maybe I don't have to shout so loud or get so angry, or for you to listen to me. And the bulk of what we did was try to annoy Sandy less, which sounds really simple. And you may think I'm being glib. I'm not. Actually, a lot of what surrounded Sandy when we first started working with him made no sense to Sandy, which is why we get frustrated with it, but made no sense at all to me and my colleagues. So if you want a really simple bit of advice what to do if you're setting up a business, there's a really good book by Herb Lovett, the really departed Herb Lovett, called Learning to Listen. Read it again. If you're in doubt, you get yourself stuck, read it again and again, because he just directs us back to being human. That, and make sure you do things to the panel principles, of course.
Thank you.
Sorry, Andrew?
Yeah, I was going to, I was reflecting on what you'd said earlier on, Sam, when you were introducing, and you talked a lot about human rights-based approaches, which is something which the Alliance were really interested in. And my piece of advice would be to go back to what is the purpose of social care? What is actually the purpose of social care? And the purpose of social care isn't as a backup to the health service to make sure that people can get from hospital into the community. It's actually fundamentally about achieving people's rights. Like the rights that Sandy was talking about in the video, things like living independently in the community, the right to family life, the right to liberty, those sort of things. Those are the absolutely fundamental rights that any social care organisation should be working towards. And remembering that actually social care isn't there, and these are actually Sam's words from a piece of work we previously did together. Social care isn't there to do people a favour. It's actually there to fundamentally fulfil those sort of rights. So supporting people to go out and see their family and their friends, supporting people to develop relationships. Last week, supporting people to go out and vote. Those are the things which actually are the things that fundamentally social care is there to achieve.
Hi. Your question was if we were to give you one bit of advice if you were setting up a service to support Sandy and other people like Sandy, what would that piece of advice be? And I think mine would be get to know Sandy, get to know the community that he's living in and introduce one to the other. And remember, your role is not one of a chaperone, but one of a matchmaker between those two. I think over the years, lots of people have felt, lots of services have felt that their role is to be a bit of a bubble around someone, to keep them safe from the community, and to be the solution for all that person's needs. And I just don't think that works for anybody. I wish I had recorded what you said there, Sandy. I thought what you said was fantastic. I might need to listen to it through Google Translate, but I got most of it. And the bit that I liked most of all was when you talked about the need to retrain your brain for living in the community. The thing is, the community needs to retrain its brain as well, because oftentimes a community isn't ready to include everybody, and it needs to learn that, and actually it needs to learn that from you and other people like you.
Are there any other questions? Oh, we had one by you before.
Sorry, it wasn't a question, it was just really to second what the gentleman just said. Sandy, I loved everything you said. I thought it just summed up totally why we're here. Because of your experiences of what was taken away, and no wonder you get emotional. Who wouldn't? I mean, that is, when you get emotional like that, that's you telling yourself you know something's wrong, and it was wrong. Your rights were completely squashed and squelched, and you've had the courage, and you've had you've managed to do it. You've had the strength and the courage to move forward out of that situation, and it's phenomenal. And thanks to Sea Change for just giving you the nudges in the right direction.
Thank you very much. Cheers, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there another question? Because I can't do this. I'm not getting emotional.
Yes, I'm Women's Patricia, and I work for the Spearhead Advocacy Project. Firstly, can I thank you so much for sharing what was a really sad but wonderful story. And I'm so glad we managed to get the life that you really wanted to achieve. And is it okay if I ask you, did anyone ever help you to get advocacy in for support through all this time that you had in hospital?
Well, I'd like to see Valise's Bridge. She was based in Cornhill. I can't remember her name, but she's the boss of advocacy in Aberdeen. Yeah, but we have her there because everything is private confidential, but we talked about. But then I had a patient to talk to the charge nurse that was there, and they got removed, so when she never came back after that. Yep, every time we talked about the nurses, you name it, they removed her, the doctors, you name it, they want her there because we're talking about the nurses and doctors. They didn't like it, so they removed her, so she never came back.
That's shocking.
Yep. Yep, that's the power they've got. See, at least we didn't have doctors 24/7. They're based in Aberdeen. I had the nurses there could do anything when doctors are there because they're never there 24/7. Only time doctors there is for meetings and things. So the nurses could do anything they want there. You could do anything because everything is out in the country. They're away from Aberdeen, they're away from city. It's an open country. The least base is in like a field. Okay? It's base. They've got grounds you could go into, but it's a miles away from Aberdeen. You only city little town you've got is White Hills, Banff. But you have to get a bus to there, you can't walk it. But that's the only time you see a doctor's on the meetings. So if it happens to these people behind closed doors, then they know what's going on in there. Nobody knows. No? Yeah. I talk about the says that my mother put me there because she couldn't cope with my behaviour. That was wrong to say that because that's what they want people to believe that my mother locked me. My mother locked me away. My dad was at sea. My brother was Mary's wife. I was only about 7-year-old at the time. I used to go to my brother's house to have a chat with his wife there because I had a thing with his wife. Again, I told you about it, but I was too young to have her because they're older. But me and Margaret had a little time we used to talk. But then I was having my sister-in-law's house, and we used to yap all the time. But then, before I asked her to go to a little boys' room, and she said, it's the last on the right, but I had to keep my light for that. Then I looked through the door. What did I find in Jimmy and my sister-in-law's bed? My mother was having a beer in their house. My mother locked away so I could keep my mouth shut. That's why I was locked away. It's there because of my behaviour. It's because I caught her baby with somebody else. I never took need about that. As my younger sister, Les, found that my mother was having that person back and forth. My sister took my father about this. My father was divorced with my mother for 27 years. And after that happened, my father got remarried back to the wife he divorced. He did that in secret. Nobody knew they were getting remarried. But that's why I was locked away.
It is a very good point though, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because people ended up in hospitals and institutions for lots of obscure reasons. And then, because the place you are doesn't make sense, then reputations gather. And if you think that this is history, we only have to look at what's happening in Scotland, but particularly down in England, Winterbourne Review, the thousands of people in assessment and treatment units who are not being assessed and treated, not by any standard that you or I would expect. Are there any more questions? Sorry, yes, I'm looking at you and I'll point it. I'm not very good at this. Yes.
My name is Polly McFadden, I'm here as a parent. Thank you, Sandy, for sharing your story. There's two things that you said that kind of stuck out for me, and it's when you're born in this world, you're born for purpose, and you think that you can't think, but you can. And today's came at quite a relevant point for us, because I have recently been told that I've got a 7-year-old daughter, and was advised that I am giving her too much choice, and I have to stop that as a parent. And that I have to reduce the amount of hugs that I have to give my daughter. Another mother from a different local authority has recently been told that as well. Where do we as parents move forward with that, especially when we're talking about human rights? I was horrified.
Well, for a child, you've got to give all the love you can get, you know what I mean? That's just a child. Yeah, but when you've got a child, you're going to love that child, to love you more. If you're going to these things to stop doing that child's going to love you when it grows up. That child's going to hate you. It's like somebody's got a boy and you treat that boy different from the daughter. Are they got to like each other for it? They're going to wind each other up, they're going to hate each other because you're getting more attention than I'm getting. It doesn't work like that. You treat both exactly the same, you don't treat anything different. It's just...
I guess as somebody who's spent an adult life in social care and managing social care, I'm appalled that any organisation, any council would consider that to be a policy, but I'm assuming it isn't a policy. I'm assuming it's the behaviours of individuals. But where are the checks and balances around about that kind of ethical approach? I would certainly be pushing that back. I cannot, I'm sitting here trying to think, I cannot think of any kind of rational justification. Postural management, right, yeah. Aye, that's right. Because that very much does counterbalance the idea of giving love and attention to your child, to nurture them emotionally. All too often, and it's interesting that is the rationale, all too often, and certainly in my world, because I manage both health services and social work services, there is this inherent tension that's been around a long time over the different kind of expectations that the individual silos of activity have around about what's the best way to manage a situation. But as a parent, you're just trying to be a parent and love your child and do your best emotionally for your child on the basis that some of the physical stuff that might have to be have because they have exceptional needs is taking cognizance of that and factoring it in. But it sounds like there's a complete mismatch there between what's actually in the best emotional, and actually everything Sandy said is that to hell with all that kind of physical stuff. It's the emotional thing that makes you the adult, or the mature, able adult that you end up being. And
definitely, yeah. It totally changes it.
Yeah, any other thoughts?
I can only reiterate what you said, Tom. It's just staggering that a professional would give you that advice, and yeah, I would have to agree that I can't believe that's a policy, and that's surely the misinterpretation of the policy by an individual. But then you're saying that someone else was given the same advice in a different area. But I think
it's about that, and I see it all the time. It's about that siloed activity, which is, in order to manage that specific condition, here is what's best for that specific condition, and here's what's best for that. It's like medication. Sandy mentioned about the kind of bottomless quagmire of pills and everything he was on. That's because people see these things in isolation and don't see the aggregating effect. So your child didn't get the benefit of, well, okay, yes, in terms of physical handling, perhaps less physical handling would be, suppose, ideal. However, actually, it's not a good thing, because actually more physical handling is going to be far better for the child's well-being in the longer term. So, nonsense.
Just my thought, and that maybe connects with the previous question about independent advocacy as well, and the role that advocacy can play in supporting people to challenge things like that. And while we're at a position where advocacy is being drawn back in terms of funding and the amount of advocacy available, there's maybe support locally to be able to sort of challenge these type of decisions and type of things that are coming forward, which I agree with Tom, it doesn't sound like that's a policy, it sounds like that's an individual potentially putting that forward.
And I suppose my thinking is, if it's advice, it might not be good advice in the context of the whole child. And therefore, as a family, you go, are you instructing me to do this? Is there a legal framework for your intervention here? Or other than that, thanks. But
I've been with that,
and she'll be a challenging parent for long.
Yes, it's be a child. But you put this child in the world. You should take. You should be separate. Other people said. If you want children where you do for your work with that child, you've got a right to do that. They should tell you what to do with your child. You brought this child to the world. You want to bring up where you want to bring up. Don't listen to what they said. You want to bring up. It's like you don't have a say in it. It's like we don't have a say in it. But it's like if there's an animal to this world, you put that animal doing it because it's weak or something. No, the animal parent does that. And when I pay for myself, all we could do is we get some other animal to eat. But we can't do that as humans. It's like murder. But as I said, if you're upon this planet, you're here for a purpose. If you want to be your child any way you want, you've got to do the right to do that. Don't listen to any people. It's your child.
Can I just say that there's just one small thing, Sam, and this is the problem of this kind of thing, is that your friend here today is clearly an empowered individual who can understand that doesn't feel right. It intuitively doesn't seem right. It seems like bad advice, and you've connected with other people. For everybody like you, there's another 10 or 20 people who just follow professional advice. And that's the reason why it actually isn't good enough to just say, oh, tell them, Sandy, tell them that I'll do what I like. Because actually so many other people won't do that. They won't feel empowered to do it. They won't feel as if they know what's right. So actually we do need to challenge organisations formally, and whether it be through advocacy services, which is a very good vehicle for doing that, but actually challenging what looks like a policy statement or on behalf. I think we need to push that back organisationally.
That's how I'm putting it. The government tells the parents you can't hit your child. But when we were kids, I'll give you
You are, that's good, thank you.
I'm just
we have to swap things around. We're on time, we had to swap things around because the Minister wasn't with us at the time, so can we now ask you to leave? Come on.